Here is a country of great contrast.
Great civilization of antiquity.
A foreign country assembly.
It's the Casa de Cavazos. We're back, providing that Tejano connection to reality. At long last, we are back in the 956, Harlingen, Texas, where that first episode was recorded. I'm Justin. That's Ada. That's Nathan. Finally, after talking about it so much, you all ran that Austin half marathon. How'd it go?
Yeah, we beat that story to a pulp. And then ran the half marathon, kind of limped along a little bit at some point, but finished.
Did you finish though?
Yes, I finished. I sprinted at the end. No one saw me.
No one saw you finish, so we don't know.
I put it all out on the line at the very end. I was like, you can walk. You can walk. No, I'm like, no, go. And then I sprinted at a 7:23 pace at the very end, and no one saw it.
I was waiting for you for a really long time, and I got really cold, so that was not cool.
That was also your fault. Why didn't you wear multiple layers?
Why didn't you train more and actually finish within a few minutes of me?
Oh.
That can happen in the future. I'm not dead yet.
Well, how many runs did you all do for the training process?
I don't know. I did a lot, but they were not very long in general. My last long run was an 8.5 mile run in terrible humidity and flat, no hills.
Well, I only did 6 runs, and I don't know if that's why the hills were so bad for me, but I really felt I was going to break the 2 hours, but then just incline after incline. Everybody was collectively groaning, just like, oh. I remember one specific instance, like it was super flat, and then right when you turned, it was like a pretty hard curve. It went straight up, and everybody was just like, fuck.
So let's start at the beginning of the run.
Okay.
So we started together.
Wait. No, let's go back even further, even before the beginning of the run.
Okay.
You wake up. What time do you get up?
I woke up about 5:55 a.m.
I woke up at 5:35 to take a shower.
I don't take showers before the run.
Clearly, but you do other things in the restroom.
I just went to the bathroom after I drank a little coffee, ate a banana, and half a peanut butter sandwich.
Do you want to talk about what happened in
No,
there?
we don't want to talk about what happened in the bathroom. Anyways, moving on.
The fact that you don't want to talk about it speaks volumes.
Anyways, we fast forward to getting there. It was cold, but once we packed into our corral, we got some body heat from other people.
Did you all huddle up like penguins?
No,
Yes.
I don't think so. No, it was not like that.
Yeah, it was way better in there, though. I couldn't even stand it. As soon as we went outside, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this at all.
It was like 30-some degrees, right?
It was 36 when we left, and it did feel like 28, just like it said. It was really bad. I was like, oh my God.
I didn't really feel that because I wore layers.
Didn't we have to walk like 5 blocks to get to the start line?
Yeah, maybe 7.
I think it was really cold, and then we got next to all the people. I felt a little bit better. And then we ran, of course, I felt really good. And then I had to wait a really long time for a very slow person. So
okay,
here's
the thing. He said, are you going to run with me? And I said, I'll try to keep up, but I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up for a very long time. But he didn't seem like he was going that fast. And I'm like, save yourself. Just go. And so I ran with him for like maybe 1 mile?
The hell? It's not war. Save yourself.
Yeah, save yourself. And then when I finally got away from him, I was able to like ease into the run a lot better.
Well, my first mile came out like 11 something. I don't know how you thought that was fast.
Okay, I don't know how that happened because I ended up getting faster.
Sounds like it was just mental.
You think it was a mental block because I was just thinking that you were going to kill me?
Yeah, because I was like, I knew I wasn't going very fast. I was like, okay. And I would slow down and be like,
Did y'all have to stop at any point?
So initially I had to like take some little walk breaks because I was still trying to recover from trying to keep up with him. And then I eased into it and I'm like, this is actually feeling pretty good. So that went on for a while. And at some point I just started getting tired. So then I started taking like little, electrolyte breaks whenever the stations came up. Maybe some like breaks when I saw like a big hill, like just walk up the hill, that kind of thing. But it felt a lot better than the Vegas run. A lot better.
I had a ton of stops, but they weren't for walking. I just remember in Vegas, my legs felt really bad the last like 2 miles. I was like, man, why can't I get any more speed? And it ended up being that I was just really dehydrated. So I stopped and got 2 or 3 cups of water or electrolytes every single time there was a station.
Have you seen those people who will like drink beers during the half marathon?
Well, some people were offering like liquor towards the end.
There was a table that had beer as well. And then it was like shot or water.
Yeah, I thought about it, then I was like, no.
I think I saw one like at mile 11. I was like, oh, maybe. And I was like, no. Because there's a guy just holding like a jug of like whiskey. And I was like,
I saw
no.
someone stop and they poured it into his mouth.
Yeah, that's why I didn't do it. I was like, wait, how am I going to drink this?
I mean, on the one hand, you are staying dehydrated, but on the other, you are feeling less of your pain for the rest of the run.
And at some point also, like I had to like lift up my pants so they can kind of be like shorts. And so I was like, this is how much I heat up. And like, it was like what, 30 some degree weather most of the run?
I think it was already in the 40s by the time you guys got there, right?
Oh, okay. But yeah, like that's how much I heat up. Like I needed to be in like a t-shirt and shorts, like by mile 3. So I started at 10:23 pace. Then the second mile is 11:14. Then I actually go to 10:35, then 11:10, then 9:55, then 10:25. And then I start going into the 11s. And then I think mile 10, the 14, I think is when I was in the bathroom. And that was when I couldn't feel my hands. And I was having a very difficult time, like taking off my clothes. Like I almost like tore my underwear.
All of your clothes?
No.
Just like stripped down in the porta potty?
Yeah, like George Costanza.
I was about to say that, where you just pop out with no shirt. You're like, oh crap, I got to go back in here.
No, so I mean like lowering my underwear and pants. But like when I took down my underwear, like I heard like that tear sound.
What the fuck?
Because I couldn't, like I was just terrible. Like I could barely like feel anything. And so it was like a very long situation in there. Then I decided to also like fix my ponytail because my hair seemed really messed up. And that also took a while.
How long did that take total?
I think it took like 3 minutes.
Precious time.
Yeah.
That's time that you left Nathan waiting at the end.
So the thing is, like every time I would actually start running, I was in the 10s, my pace. But it just became an issue of getting fatigued. So I just like had more walk breaks towards the end. And then like those hills, I just gave up on them at the end. Just like, nah, I'm just going to walk them. And at the end, when they're like, oh, we're almost there. Then I thought about walking again. Then I was like, no, let me run. And then I was like, oh, you can walk. No, just go. And then I sprinted and no one saw me.
Well, they saw me, but they saw me going really slow because I actually sped up at the end. When they told me where they were actually at, I was kind of coasting.
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, we weren't at the end. I was like, oh, so then you guys saw me going pretty slowly.
Yeah.
Everybody passing me, right?
Yeah. I will say that just overall, everything felt better compared to a year ago. Having the strength training, recovering from that groin tear. Last time I did the half, which was in Vegas, like most of the time I was just like, this is horrible. I'm a psycho. And this time I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not great, but okay, like I can do this. And I don't remember calling myself a psycho at all. And then I also got like kind of like social, like, oh, like these people around me are so cool. Like I was more positive about it. Whereas last time it was torture.
So did you sign up already? Because I'm already in.
Are you lying?
Am I?
Sign up for what? Austin?
Austin next year.
We're going to do Austin again after those hills?
Yes. You claimed you had the family PR. So I'm going to go over there and destroy it.
You're not going to destroy it.
146.
156 is the family PR.
From who?
From me.
What?
What?
When?
Was it 2012?
In the Austin run.
Yeah.
Are you in or are you out?
Well, Justin has to be in as well.
All right, fine. I'll do it. What do you want?
Becca's not going to be here, though.
You don't know that.
I don't know. Like, it's like a love-hate relationship with running for me because I did feel very positive about that experience. And it reminded me, like, what I actually like about running. Like, the fact that it wasn't hot and humid was very helpful. And also, like, I didn't feel like in so much pain where I was just like, this is terrible. There was like some pain, like I just started to get some ankle tendinitis and like my legs started getting sore. Also like my calves started spasming. That was another issue. That's the reason why I also had to like take walk breaks because I was concerned like my legs were actually going to like seize up on me. Like I think if someone was looking at my leg while I was running, like they could actually physically see that like the calf was like actually like fasciculating.
Ugh.
And then you thought my groin was torn. That was really dumb.
Yeah. Well, he was like acting like he was all done with his groin.
Yes, it was very sore.
Yeah, your gaits looked horrible.
Mine?
Both of you, like after the run, when we saw you, you both looked done.
I didn't feel that bad with my legs.
That's been pretty par for the course for us, like right after the run.
Yeah.
But you didn't see us after the full. That was like really bad.
This is actually probably like the least sore I've been in recent history, and probably because of all the strength training I did.
Well, you weren't as done as some of the other people we saw. We passed by someone who was like trying to stretch out his ankle. He was like, fuck, shit. Ah. He finished it. He did it. And there was this other young woman who was like walking kind of supported by her boyfriend to the point where he was like, don't we just like pick you up and give you a piggyback ride? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah. I was more positive in general about it afterwards. Like, this was the type of run where it's like one of those things that makes me feel really alive. Like, because sometimes you're running and it just feels great. And then like with all the people around you, like the people cheering you on, the music, and then also the pain, like there's kind of like that, make sure to remember that you're alive because you have pain as well. But it wasn't so extreme. Like it wasn't like the Chick-fil-A half pain that I had. Mm-hmm. Like I had the ankle pain, like my ankles were sore, but it wasn't like excruciating, like, oh my God, like you need to stop because of the pain. Like nothing like that. So that was good. Love-hate relationship. And then you get the medal. The medal is freaking amazing.
The medal was pretty cool.
It's a belt buckle and a medal.
Have you worn it already?
I wore it after the race.
No, like as a belt buckle.
What do you mean? You wore it to work today?
No, of course not.
But remember when we ran the San Diego Fool, like we wore the medal like the next day?
What?
Did we?
Yeah, we wore it at the zoo. We're like, we suffered for this for 5 hours or almost 5 hours. Like we're wearing these medals.
Sometimes those medals are crazy. The one half marathon we did in Chicago, the medal was huge.
Yeah.
It was like this big. For the listeners, I want to say it was like 5 inches wide.
I need to see it in
person. Do you
person.
still have it?
Yeah.
You have to keep them.
We got to see this.
Yes.
It's at home. I'll show you later. If you want video content on the podcast, please let us know. So, post-race, what did you eat? Did you get to become the trash can reincarnated?
I don't think I was that hungry because I ate like 4 gels and then like multiple electrolyte solutions. So I wasn't that hungry for some reason. I don't know what happened. I think also like the fact that I didn't sweat a lot, like I didn't exert as much energy as I usually do to like keep myself warm or keep myself cool. Sorry, not warm. That wouldn't make sense, would it? The ambient temperature was keeping me cool.
So it's entirely possible that your trash can days are behind you.
No, no, it's just that it was a perfect situation for me as far as the weather. So I didn't exert as much energy, even though I did end up getting very tired, like I said.
When you got back to the Airbnb, how long were you on the couch? Because I feel like you did not move for like 2 hours at that point.
I don't recall.
Because y'all walked like half an hour, 45 minutes home after the race.
I don't know. I felt like I wanted to go to bed by 4 p.m.
I fell asleep on the ride home for like 30 minutes. Yeah, I think we got on the highway and we hadn't even got out of, that stretch to go from Austin to San Antonio. I think I fell asleep before we even got to like New Braunfels. And then, luckily I woke up. My wife was apparently very tired and she was also falling asleep. So I got up and we stopped and I was able to stay awake after that. But yeah.
Did you get some caffeine?
Yeah, I got some coffee.
Yeah. Austin was pretty nice. It was nice to spend some time out there before and after the run. I got to experience something that Nathan got to experience before me. I was actually in the car watching this happen, but I could only experience how horrible it was doing it myself. I drove the Tesla Model S with the yoke wheel, and every single thing about it was horrible. It's stupid. It's stupid. You can't do regular hand over hand turns. The blinkers are in an asinine position on the steering wheel. Like, if the yoke's turned at all, you have to like actually find where the button is. because the buttons are on the face of the yoke. They're not in that same place, that lever that you would have on the side of the steering wheel on a normal car. All of the controls to like park or go in reverse are on the touch screen. The touch screen is, depending on the angle you're sitting in, is partially obscured by the yoke
Yeah.
too. Just all these things are just so stupid about driving that car.
Sounds like you just hate Elon Musk, dude.
Now I'm pretty sure he could go outside right now and drive a Tesla that has a regular steering wheel on it, and he'd be like, "This is fine."
Okay, you're gonna have to do that.
No, you know what? Today we were in the car with Ada. We were just talking, and I wasn't even paying attention to this, but I noticed that even though she's like, "Oh, you'll get used to it," like I've gotten used to it over time. She still has to look down to look at where the blinker buttons are before hitting them on the steering wheel.
It was a very quick glance.
Yeah, but that means that you haven't even got used to it.
I was
up
just
to this
getting into
point.
like a turning lane right here. It's not even a big deal.
I still think they just made it this way because they were confident that they were going to have the self-driving working so well that everybody would opt for it.
Yeah, because I actually felt a lot more comfortable on this trip because now there are even more supercharging stations. And based on what it was telling me, I didn't even have to lower my speed. Like I was sometimes touching 89 miles an hour and I was still doing perfectly fine with my efficiency.
Yeah, the stops have changed a lot too. There was a time when even at the supercharger, you had to stay there for like 40 minutes to even get enough charge to get to the next spot on the map. And this time, like just 10 minutes to get you home was fine. And we actually stopped to get some food there at the gas station, spent a little bit longer. And you know what? The car was basically fully charged by the time we got back there. We didn't have to be there that long.
That's on the newer one though, right? It charges a lot faster on the supercharger compared to the...
Yes, I think the battery technology is improved. And also like some of these new superchargers, they charge faster as well. Like they're the 250 kilowatt versus the 150. Justin will have to also drive the Rivian to do a true comparison of electric vehicles.
I refuse to drive the Tesla again.
What the heck?
It was horrible.
I'm used to it. That's all I can say.
You
And-
can't do hand over hand turns. If you have to do like a quick 3-point turn to turn around somewhere, this is what you have to do if you have not been inside that car. You make that first turn. You have to make sure that the screen is open to the thing that lets you choose to switch from forward to reverse. It's not a control that's on the console. It's something on the screen where you have to slide your finger up or down to go reverse or forward. Then you do your turn, and you can't even do the full turn with a normal hand over hand, and then you have to touch the screen again in order to do that. And that's if the thing is up on the screen. Like if you have navigation or anything else on, you don't have those controls immediately accessible to you. And another thing too that's stupid is that the navigation direction volume, if you have that on, is a separate volume from the music volume. So it's entirely possible for your music volume, for some reason, to drown out your navigation directions. Why would you ever want that?
Haters gonna hate. We chose a Tesla for this particular trip just because of the supercharging network. I think at this point, like you're still gonna have the best experience with a Tesla. And also the house we stayed at had a Tesla wall charger.
I don't know. I think if you buy a Tesla nowadays, you're being scammed.
What?
You're being scammed.
How?
Because there are so many things in the design that are completely, absolutely stupid. And then even the build quality isn't that great. You had multiple fit and finish issues that had to take the vehicle in and out of the shop. The car smells horrible because of its stupid cabin filter issue.
Yeah.
So like, there's all these things that you would think you're paying a premium for this premium experience, and there's so many little things that go wrong with the vehicle.
Yeah.
You're paying a premium to be inconvenienced most of the time.
Well, I think ultimately Rivian will get there and possibly surpass Tesla because the build quality is a lot better. They don't try to be gimmicky about certain things. And they are also building their own network, the Rivian Adventure Network. In addition, some of the supercharging stations are compatible with Rivians with an adapter. And then once they like really start rolling as a company, they'll have more service centers and whatnot. So it'll take time, but right now it's more convenient for me on a trip like that to drive the Tesla.
For now.
For now.
Doesn't change that the day-to-day experience of actually driving the vehicle is below that of other competitors in the price range.
Well, now I have the Rivian and my daughter only wants to be in the Rivian.
Yeah.
So do you have the same opinion about her original car?
But it has a normal steering wheel.
And doesn't smell
weird.
And that's because I paid for 2 service visits for the cabin filter recently, and there may be a small improvement.
Well, maybe you can donate it to next year's All-Star game.
Yeah, we spent some time before and after the run watching some of the NBA's All-Star Weekend events. They tried a couple new things with the format. What'd you all think about it? Do you want to talk about just the All-Star game, or do you want to talk about the other events too?
What did you think about Chris Paul and Wemby trying to exploit a loophole in the skills challenge?
I don't know. That was stupid. That was embarrassing. Why did they do that?
I mean, Chris Paul is all about knowing every single rule and trying to use it to his advantage.
Apparently, Draymond said that he heard Wemby asking 5 or 6 different officials if it was allowed and didn't get a clear answer, so they just went with it.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't go with it if you don't have a clear answer.
Yeah, but what's the consequence?
I mean, I watched it again. Like, some of the balls that Wemby's throwing up, or some of them hit the rim, so I don't understand what the problem was.
But some of them, they just threw them to the ground, basically.
Most of them that threw at the ground.
Maybe Chris Paul's looked that way. Wemby's went a little bit higher, and he hit
Because
the rim.
he's so massive.
Yeah, I think he hit the rim on his third toss on both of them.
Well, I think the most interesting thing was the dunk contest. Like, McClung is amazing. Like, that guy is sick. Like, how does he do that? Like, 48-inch vertical, like, I don't know, man.
And he's creative.
And he pretty much got them all on the first try, right?
Well, that's been the thing. That's why he's been so good. Like, when Nate Robinson was there and winning them, like, that's when people really started getting annoyed with the attempts. Because, yeah, he would get the dunks, but some of the times it was like he tried so many times, and the crowd was kind of just like just tired, just watching, like, oh my God, like, this guy's just like embarrassing himself.
Yeah.
Technically, he got every single one where he actually jumped, right?
Yeah, he didn't miss any. I think
with the car, the ball wasn't in the right position.
yeah, he
so
didn't like
go
it, so
up.
he aborted that attempt right away. But I also feel real bad. Castle, I think, like, really had a good shot to win that one.
Yeah. In any other year, Castle probably would have won.
Yeah.
It was really refreshing to see his athleticism, and just like without props too, because I feel like props are just kind of the thing that a lot of people do. Like, physically, his were super impressive. And on top of that, when he actually made them, there's a certain fluidity that almost made them look easy.
Yeah.
That you couldn't really appreciate until you saw it in slow motion.
Well, it's kind of the thing where he was disadvantaged. It was kind of like he was like an actual, like how the bigs always get lower scores because it looks so easy for them. I mean, and then you look at his dunks, and those are not easy dunks. I mean, he just made them look easy. Because you saw Mac McClung's face every time he got these dunks. He was like, oh shit, like, I'm really going to have to bring my best dunk.
Yeah, but Castle was doing some stuff that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Like that one where he went around his back and then dunked it with his left hand.
Yeah, that was amazing. But McClung's just better, honestly. Like, he's just super gifted at that. I think it helps that he's short, or relatively short, and so he can maneuver better in the space.
He's still 6'2".
No, but relatively.
I
said
feel
relatively.
like in the final round, they should have given him both the perfect scores both times and made him go to a dunk off.
Yeah.
But like, McClung had like a crazy move where he's like roll the tape because it was so crazy. Remember how he tapped the ball on the rim and then dunked it?
His entire torso at the last second to put it in
yeah,
forward.
That guy's crazy athletic.
Yeah. And with the whole Kia thing, I don't know if people remember in their mind's eye, but Blake Griffin jumped over the hood of the car.
We got to rewatch that.
And McClung actually cleared the entire vehicle.
Yeah.
Well, because he's smaller too. Like I'm saying, it's that combo of the size plus the vertical. So he can do crazy things.
Yeah. I think it would have been nicer if there were actual good, solid athletes that competed alongside Castle and alongside McClung. Like, I don't even care if it's not necessarily a big name star who's also in the dunk contest, but it has to be people that they screen to actually put up any kind of competition against McClung. Buzelis crapped the bed, and then Jackson Jr., like, he hardly did anything. He just did these like backup dunks after that. And it was just kind of mailed in. Like, I never saw two players do so little at the dunk contest.
I still think it was really good because the McClung and Castle. McClung's were like amazing to me.
But I did want to say about McClung, though, I kind of feel like the reason why it really should have gone to a dunk off is because Castle was doing some stuff where like it's just off his bounce. Like I feel like almost every single dunk McClung does, he's grabbing the ball off something.
Yeah.
So it's a variation of the same thing for him every single time.
Yeah.
And like Castle actually doing that dunk that you were talking about, that was really impressive.
Yeah. It was good. Both of them were really good.
Yeah. I feel like Castle should do it again. Do you think he'll do it 4 years in a row?
I mean, I would.
Last year he said he might stop, and this year he says like, I don't know if I'll do it again.
Well, he might have to because he got people talking. Morant reached out to Levine, and apparently even Giannis is like, yeah, let's do it. But
So they want to try to beat McClung?
it's one thing to say it. I mean, would that be a good dunk contest? You get Gordon to come back, Levine, Morant.
Yeah.
Bring back Castle.
Castle should definitely be there.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he could jump like that. Like, you just got to knock out the next guy.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be cool. I mean, Castle's been jumping like that all year. He's been catching a lot of crazy lobs from both Wemby and CP.
Well, unfortunately, I can't watch many Spurs games down here because they're always blacked out for me.
You got to get the FanDuel network.
You got to go to the games. Drive to San Antonio.
Well, yeah, either way, I didn't know he could jump like that. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, the Spurs' next game is actually in Austin because the rodeo road trip is still going on, but they're going to have a home game, but it's going to be in Austin instead of in San Antonio.
We thought about going back up there. Then I was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
You can stay in that guy's house again.
Is that the first time they're doing that? Playing in Austin?
I think so.
Where are they playing at?
I don't remember.
I think at like one of the UT Austin arenas.
Oh, the main gym?
I don't know. But even Bill Simmons is coming up or coming this way to have an event and watch Wemby in Austin.
So you should go.
No, I don't want to go back up there. Like I was just there. Like I would have flown. If I was going to do it, I would have flown because I didn't want to do the drive again.
All right, Nathan should go because Nathan's the yes man.
Is he? He didn't even go to the Dodgers game. Like that was like the biggest fail ever by him.
It's a huge regret. That's what he said.
That was like the middle of the week. It had to work. It was kind of like, okay, I'm going to have to like leave in the middle of the week to go see one game.
Yeah, and it was the game where they clinched the championship.
Well, there's always next time.
Denied.
So the 3-point contest was actually kind of disappointing this year, which is weird because it's kind of been like the big event of All-Star Weekend the past couple of years.
Do you think it's going to get to the same point as the dunk contest where like less and less of the shooters are going to show up? Because like Steph didn't do it. Clay didn't do it. And I guess most people assume Dame was probably going to pull it off, but you already know how it is. You have one bad round and you're out.
Yeah. I mean, take Buddy Hield, for example. Like Buddy Hield matched the highest score in the 3-point competition in that first round and then completely missed on that second round.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the second round, so he was just completely off.
He ended up losing by 1 point still, but it was just a huge swing from that first round for him.
I feel like they had already had something where people got really interested when they should bring Sabrina and Caitlin Clark to go against like Steph and Clay or maybe Steph and Dame or something. They had something there. I just don't know why they couldn't get it done this year.
Yeah, there was like a weird lack of consistency from people that are usually spot up 3-point shooters. And I don't know if it's just getting the ball off the rack or folks are used to playing in games where they're getting the ball sent to their hands immediately.
I don't know if they ever did this, but is there any way where we could have like both players shooting on opposite ends? That way they kind of you can see the score. I mean, I feel like that could kind of ramp up the pressure.
Do you think that will make them miss more?
It might, but I mean, at least you know, like maybe how you said the head-to-head dunks, the head-to-head 3-point shootout would be pretty cool too. Because then the rest of the time you have the guys just sitting there like hoping the other guys miss, which as a fan you don't want, but as a player you're just there like, man, I only scored 14. But let's say you win head-to-head and you beat the guy, you already know you're moving on to another round.
Yeah.
And then at that point you could seed, obviously. Like if you had the highest round in the first round, you play the lowest scoring winner of the first round and go from there.
Were you going to say something?
No, the dog is trying to kill my backpack or some kind of bag.
He's super distracted.
Do I have anything in there that's breakable?
Speaking of super distracting, did you all read how people were not very impressed with the actual All-Star Games format because of how long it took, yet the actual amount of basketball amounted to maybe less than 40 minutes of action?
He was like thinking that I was terrible because I was like, this is terrible. Like how you're having to wait all this time for the games.
I thought that was terrible too.
Did you see Shea when Kevin Hart was trying to talk to him? He was just like, just keep the game going. Like he wasn't having it. Like he was trying to talk to him, talk about his mustard shoes, and Shea's just like.
But all of it, even the beginning, like it's like a whole concert at the beginning.
I mean, that's always been the thing for them, like the intros, which, like I said, that doesn't really bother me. But then, like once the action started, I mean, it was completely mismanaged. I don't understand why they wanted Hart to be there.
Yeah.
And then I don't understand why they didn't do the TNT tribute at the end of the game. Like that was a really long thing.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes.
That killed the flow of the game.
So you don't have a problem with the pre-concert where even Shaq walks out with a robotic dog? Like that's how elaborate it is?
They've been doing this forever. Just look at the old intros. The players would come out on the stage and they would be dancing and everything.
I know, but it's like taking longer, it seems like.
They would play music that is from the area where the All-Star game is being played. That's totally normal. It's all the stoppages in between the stuff that's weird.
Yeah.
It was the stoppages between the games itself. It was that weird presentation, and was it during a timeout? Like that was technically a timeout in the championship game.
I think whenever they would hit a certain point total, it would go to timeout. So I think they hit the 15 points, and you had the first timeout.
Yeah, but that first game was the best one. People had all of this energy, and it was actually kind of competitive, kind of close. And then after that, as the breaks went on, and it got longer and longer.
The first one, you don't think the Rising Stars game was better? That one went down to the wire too.
That was pretty good. I just feel like the competition level was a little bit tighter in that first one, and it looked like people were actually playing actual basketball. And also, I brought up this point in a previous pod. If anyone who is an NBA star is complaining about changes to the format, it's your own fault for not putting that effort in for that All-Star game, right? The reason why they want to make these changes is to make it more engaging for the average viewer, and you're giving people a reason to tune out by not caring. So I could give two flying fucks about what Draymond thinks about that. First of all, he's wrong. It was very entertaining to see those Rising Stars play. Two, they did deserve to be there because those were the rules of the game.
Why don't you just go back to a traditional format? East versus West, 4 quarters.
Because they haven't had a competitive game in a while. Like they remember when they went to the Elam ending, it was kind of okay. And then they went back to the normal thing last year and they put up 211 points.
Yeah.
Like there's zero defense. Nobody's trying. You don't get to the fourth quarter how you used to in the past where like, okay, like we've had enough of a show. Now we want to win. We want to show you that we're a better conference. Like that's out the window at this point. And Giannis has a pretty good idea that the NBA supposedly likes is like, yeah, let's make it an international versus USA, but the games are going to be overseas.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read about that. I think that's a good idea because like the NFL used to do that, right? Like you would get kind of like a treat. Like if you made the Pro Bowl, like you get to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, but that's so different because that's at the end of the season.
Sure, but like this is a break, right? They all have a break for a week, like the whole league.
Yeah, they do.
So you get to go on vacation to France or something. It's a treat because you made the All-Star game.
So to do it like what the NHL was trying out this year, where the NHL had the 4 nations face off.
Yeah, well, that's what they were talking about. It's like you have the NFL, which is like this flag football game. But like I said, the NFL is never going to go back because you don't want your players to be getting hurt in a meaningless game. But the NBA is not that way. But you had people playing these exhibitions in hockey and people were fighting. Like there is very competitive. Like there was actual fist fights in these games. And then you can't even get the NBA guys to like put forth a little effort.
Yeah. Well, Wemby tried to do it differently. He was all motor all the time, as much as he could, chasing down players, blocking a couple shots. He even forced some of those passes that, like, Jalen Brunson or like Darius Garland would come down to the paint and then he'd recover and they'd be like, nope, that's going out.
Well, that's what somebody was saying. It's like the other thing is this format's so unfair. Like for these guys, they're never going to be able to even get close to the point totals. Like for the records, they felt really bad for Shea and like Wembanyama. Like they're really trying, and they get these little snippets of a game where they can't really put their imprint on it, like in the history books.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, with the more traditional format and the lack of defense, the lack of actual basketball playing, those inflated point totals, like, oh, like, well, no one can ever break these scoring records anymore with this format. Those scoring records are already busted because those games are so meaningless. When Jordan and Kobe actually cared about the All-Star game, I feel like those points are way more impressive than whatever the record that I think Jason Tatum has in the All-Star game now.
Yeah. Does he have it, or was it Anthony Davis? One of the two. But what was I going to say? Oh, the other thing is that I think like the reason why it was so bad as far as the presentation, the basketball was fine. I mean, I don't really have anything with that, but they're used to having like this 3-hour time slot, and they were going to use it no matter what, but they mismanaged it. So like, I guess they just didn't really have a good plan of how to manage this time. So you had all these like things happening, like that Mr. Beast thing too. Like that was pretty bad because the person they chose couldn't even shoot. It just so happened that Dame missed so many times that luckily like he won the money. But some people like that was the most exciting part of the night. To me, it looked, I felt bad. Like I didn't think he had any chance of making it.
I was just confused why Mr. Beast was even there at the All-Star game. That was weird.
Well, like you said, you're trying everything just to keep an audience, and like he's a huge social media influencer.
Right, he is. Doesn't he have like even snacks that they sell at Target?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
Yeah,
Somewhere he has snacks.
I think I've seen them.
So I mean, they were trying anything to get views, but I mean, some of these things, like to me, that didn't hit. I mean, that was pretty bad too.
Yeah, I know. Like there was a huge responsibility that was placed on Kevin Hart to be filler for this, but man, I don't think he was good. I don't think his commentating was good. Dare I say that I think that Kevin Hart might be washed.
Well, I didn't understand. Like, I guess I kind of figured it out as the game was going on, because like whatever he was saying, the players could hear even during the game, right?
Yeah.
When he was telling them like, "No, don't be shooting three if you're a big man. Get inside." And I was just like, the players are hearing this, right?
Yeah, that was weird. Have they done that before where they have that commentary that the whole arena can hear?
No, this is the first time, because like I said, it's always been a traditional game.
That's weird.
But that reminds me also, somebody was saying that maybe we won't get the All-Star games that we deserve until all these old heads retire. Like you need LeBron, KD, Steph, these guys to leave. And then you need to have the young guys that are coming up start carrying again. Because as long as these guys are still here, they're still going to show up the same way. Where like, oh, it's just some meaningless game. I just got to be here.
Wait, are you saying that those guys are kind of giving them the impression that it's a meaningless game?
Yeah, that's what they're seeing. Those are the guys they respect, and they don't even care about the game.
Steph doesn't care?
Doesn't seem like it either.
Not really? Like by the end there, he was just hoisting up like half-court shots.
Didn't he make
just
one
like
though?
last year? Yeah.
So like I said, I mean, I think that might be what ends up happening, because like if Wembanyama and Shea and all those guys care, and they become the main attractions when these guys retire in a few years, and if they really want to go at it, the other players will follow suit.
Yeah, I think Jokic probably won't care still. I think someone asked him about the All-Star game, and I think he said something to the effect of like, yeah, I don't think my play style is meant for this game.
Yeah, but he still tries. People don't really like watching him play in an All-Star game because he's not a dunker or anything. But I've seen him play. He always tries. It's just like I said, I mean, even when LeBron, I think the first year they did the player draft, like he got picked like last, I think.
The hell?
That is weird.
Yeah, because people were like, oh, well, we want this athletic guys. No, like LeBron picked him like last. I'd have to like look it up, but I'm pretty sure he's like one of the last picks.
That is offensive.
Let's talk about something even more depressing.
Oh my God.
So I've been turning this around in my mind since our last podcast. Almost every day, it seems like this Trump administration and Elon are anti-minorities, anti-women. So now I'm actually anticipating and worried about something that could affect our kids. I'm worried that it could get to the point where universities, colleges are so concerned that they're going to be investigated, prosecuted for taking a minority or a woman instead of a white man, that it's going to be even harder for minorities, women to get into colleges and universities. The colleges and universities are going to have to prove to the Trump administration, the DOJ, that the white person didn't deserve it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I was kind of thinking about this too. And I was thinking about it because with the DEI thing, a lot of the people that get in are getting scholarships, right? So, I mean, what incentives does the university have to stop this either? Wouldn't they rather have a student come in that's going to pay the full tuition?
Well, that's already been a concern before, right? That they prefer to have, in some instances, a student who's going to pay full tuition.
Yeah, so I mean, like, so I'm saying now, if they're telling you, like, oh, you don't really have to be looking this way anymore, what incentive are they going to have to even give people the opportunities where, like, they're going to get more money?
Yeah. Well, my concern is like a chilling effect. Like, if I know as a university or college that I'm going to be scrutinized, like, why did you pick that minority person over that white person? They're going to be like, wait, we're going to have to be really sure that this minority person is more qualified than the white person.
But at what point does the administration actually voice that?
I think they're already voicing it. They're saying it. They're telling you.
When do they say it outright? If you're concerned about that, when does the administration literally just come out and say it? Because they're going to get to a point where if enough things happen, why wouldn't they just say whatever they want at that point? Because at that point, what are you going to do about it?
I mean, I guess they're not saying the exact words that I'm saying, but they're already telling, like, universities and companies that they will be prosecuted if they discriminate based on color, gender, anything.
So who determines the discrimination?
Them.
Yeah, it's not just going to be people in the education sphere. It's not just going to be people in white collar jobs. I mean, there are whole DEI contracting initiatives. So, if you're like a Latino person listening to this podcast, you are a self-employed contractor that provides certain services to other companies. There is a chance that there would be some scrutiny invited if you are selected to do a job for a company just because you're not white.
Well, the other thing is, how are you going to prove that the non-minority is better, though? I mean, do you have to be some sort of...
I think it's going to go strictly by scores. And that's what people are not understanding who voted for Trump, that are going to have this situation happen to their kids. Like, there's people in our family that don't have the advantages that we're giving our kids, me and you, Justin, eventually. We're educated. So, like, we're going to give our kids some advantages that a lot of people in our family are not going to be able to give to their kids. Yet, at the end of the day, when they don't get the ACT score or SAT score that's higher than the white person's, they're going to be like, who cares? They're not going to take into account anything. They're just going to say, well, hey, sorry that your parents didn't have a college education and didn't know how to prep you for the SAT or the ACT.
So you're thinking that the extracurriculars are no longer going to matter for minorities. You're just going to look at the standardized scores, and if you're lower, you're going to be put aside.
Well, I don't think that the minorities had better extracurriculars to begin with. Like, also the advantaged people tend to have a lot more extracurriculars. Like, they know how to build the application, or not necessarily that they know, but like the parents may even hire like a college coach to make sure they have the proper extracurriculars.
And there's also the time that it takes to do those kinds of things. Chances are, if you are growing up in a poor family, as soon as you're 16, you might not be taking on those extracurricular activities because you have to work.
Yeah.
You have to be pulling a job in order to help support the family because you're not in a great situation to begin with.
Yeah.
And sure, sometimes work experience does get looked at positively in college applications, but I don't know, like, is a university going to look at, oh, so-and-so was the president of the debate club and they got first place in nationals, and this person worked at McDonald's for 2 years?
Yeah, they're
going
to
to look at those people the same way.
No, they're going to pick the person who went to the debate club and won first place.
Well, we're just going to have to hope that whatever happens can be undone in 4 years. The Democrats are going to have to win in 4 years. And we're going to have to look at a lot of things. I mean, I don't know how you would do it, but you seriously got to look at limiting how long a Supreme Court justice can be there.
Yeah.
Same thing for senators.
Well, I've already said this before. I go, he's talking about draining the swamp, but these people can stay there indefinitely, and they will stay there indefinitely. And that's exactly why these people are staying loyal to him, because they know they'll keep that seat.
Yeah.
Just look at Mitch McConnell. He knows he's not running again. And all of a sudden, he's voting against some of his cabinet picks. Why?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to worry about Trump. Doesn't matter what Trump says about him. He's not running next term.
Yeah.
He's already out the door. Yet I forgot which Republican, I don't know if it was a senator or congressman, was saying, oh, it's so disappointing that we were on his side during those times and now he can't back us up.
Yeah.
But he knows that what's happening is wrong.
Yeah.
But that's what's wrong with the current party. You can't have a backbone and be in that party right now. You literally just have to do what they tell you. Otherwise, like I said, Elon has said it straight out. If you don't fall in line, we're going to put all our money behind somebody to win and get you out.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's just like old institutional politics. Where they talk about trying to be different, trying to be outsiders, but the way that the party operates is the way that both the Republicans and the Democrats operate. You wait your turn and you fall in line. If you fall out of line, then the party can't do anything to help you.
Well, we're not going to just be able to rely on a certain party winning. Like we're going to have to do something ourselves. Just be aware that, you know, they're not going to care anymore that your kid was disadvantaged in any way. Like, even though my kid is pretty advantaged, like she's not going to go to Choate Rosemary Hall or, you know, Phillips Exeter or one of those crazy boarding schools, right? So to some extent, she's still going to be a little bit disadvantaged, but I need to be aware that I'm going to have to try that much harder to prepare her, because she's going to have a harder time, way harder time than I had, trying to get into a good college, trying to get into medical school if she wants that. And I also want to encourage people to realize that there are some of us out there that are willing to help. So, you know, if you don't know what to do as far as like prepping your kid for college, you know, reach out to me, reach out to Nathan, reach out to Justin. Like, we got to help each other out, because we're not going to get any help from the government or from the universities anytime soon. And that's going to be extremely damaging in terms of minorities getting doctorates, being lawyers. So, you know, we may just have to help each other out.
Yeah.
That was like a very depressed response.
That was a lot to digest, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you feel like white guys in the dunk contest is DEI?
No, I mean, Matt McClung is amazing.
Right? You have to consider all of his disadvantages, you
Yeah.
know, and
His
what he can accomplish with those disadvantages.
Exactly. He's 6'2", and it's like, wow, like, how does he jump that high and dunk like that? It's crazy.
Ball is life.
It's not looking good for minorities, for women, for quite some time. And we're going to have to prove ourselves even more.
Well, I think everybody's just gonna have to prove themselves more, because at this point they're going back to like to show that they were worse than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So Hillary Clinton was more MAGA than Trump. Apparently Obama was more MAGA than Trump when he was talking about cutting all these programs. So we need to be careful whenever they pick who they're going to pick for the next race about what they're going to say, because they're going to look at any old thing and try to be like, look, you're more extreme than we are. And that message is already out there and I've already heard it. And they're trying to make it seem like Democrats are just lying to you about caring about immigration, scaling back government, all that stuff, that they're going to do the exact same thing. So you might as well just stick with the party that's actually doing it.
But isn't that going to make us lose again? Because remember how we talked about that Kamala was extremely hesitant to answer any question because she was worried about messing up.
That's why they need young blood, young blood without a track record or a history of flip-flopping to where like you can see a change in their policy over time.
Exactly. You'd probably have to run the youngest person you can, which is what, 35?
Yeah.
You might have
AOC.
you might have to run somebody that's that young where they can't really, I mean, sure they can go back, find social media, but you're not going to find them saying things that Hillary and Obama said.
But this is exactly the whole abusive relationship with them. Like, if they do it, it's fine. But if Democrats do it, it's like the worst thing ever. They're criminals and whatnot.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have less of that and you have somebody that's willing to speak up and go on a podcast, then maybe you could get through. Because I mean, I really feel like, I don't know if Joe Rogan would have actually taken Kamala on if she would have agreed to all the terms, but I feel like she might have been able to get there and just be like, you know what, I don't care if you want me to go at 7 a.m. on Saturday, I'll be there. Now, if he would have come up with something after that, then that's on him.
I think the real answer is competing with their media machine. Like, we got to figure out a way. We got to make podcasts. We got to make websites. We got to go all out and push back.
Or are these websites happening?
Yeah.
Where's the casadecavazos.com?
Yes, we're going to have one soon.
Okay, you heard it. You heard it here.
And we're ultimately also, once things start rolling, we're going to hire a Joe Rogan researcher, because that guy is so stupid, so ridiculous, but he puts out so much content that we need someone dedicated to just listening to his podcasts and researching all of the lies so that we can debunk them a lot more efficiently.
Speaking of that, you missed a golden opportunity for merch at the half marathon.
Yep.
What, Joe Rogan merch?
What? No.
Our own merch. That way you could have been running with it, and perhaps somebody was running behind you and was like, oh, let me check this out.
Okay, so apparently I need to run a lot more races just to wear the Casa de Cavazos podcast shirt.
So this is what you need to do. You need to put a QR code on the back of your shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, so that people who are running behind you can, like when you run, you listen to things most of the time. So you can listen to a podcast while you're running and like, oh, maybe I'll listen to that while I'm doing my half, right? But you also have to train so that you do a faster time so that you're in front of more people.
Oh, I thought you were going to say so that I didn't look horrible, because maybe they don't want to listen to my podcast if I look really bad while I'm running.
Wait, would more people see you if you were faster or if you were slower?
More people would pass you, I guess.
How about if I'm running, but I'm like dancing also?
What you need to do is you need to lie about being in the first corral and then just let every single person in the marathon pass you, just so that they can all see the QR code.
Speaking of running and podcasts, Nathan thought it could be a good idea for me to listen to Rogan while I was doing the run, and I was like, no.
You would have died.
I would have died? How?
Your blood pressure and your heart rate would have been super
my
high.
heart rate was going to be high. I was going to be pissed off. I decided to listen to Bill Simmons during the run, and I will say that Bill Simmons in general is a good podcast for running. He's pretty relaxing dude, man.
He's been doing it for a long time.
I actually think if I would have listened to Rogan during the run, maybe I would have done better. I just would have been like, oh, man, it's horrible.
You're like doing the hill, like, fuck that guy.
Like, man, these hills are really easy this time.
Well, congratulations. Great job on running that half marathon. I think it's a good time that we wrapped this up. So if you're still listening, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, subscribe, rate it 5 stars, tell your friends, submit things to the mailbag at casadecavasospod@gmail.com.
Until next time.
We'll see you later.
Be on the lookout for merch and our website.
Yes.
Goodbye.